It started with a cold that came from inside, you know? It wasn't the kind of cold from a rainy day that a thick sweater could solve. It was a cold in the bones, constant, even in the summer. I tried to ignore it, of course. I told myself it was just nonsense, that I was exaggerating, that it was just fatigue. Everyone feels cold sometimes, I said. I would burrow under blankets, take hot showers, drink boiling tea, all to see if it would drive away that awful feeling, but nothing worked. And then, along with the cold, came the fatigue, a weariness that knocked me down, that prevented me from doing the things I loved. Climbing a flight of stairs felt like a marathon. Going out with friends? No way. I preferred to stay at home, wrapped in bed, pretending everything was fine. Again, I tried to deceive myself. It's just work stress, I repeated. I need a vacation. But deep down, I knew it wasn't just that. I knew there was something very wrong happening to me. The realization came one day when, trying to get up from bed, I simply couldn't. My legs trembled, my vision darkened, and I collapsed to the floor. There, in that moment, I knew I needed help, that I couldn't ignore what was happening to my body anymore, that I needed to confront the truth. Hi everyone, my name is Brittany, and I'm 27 years old. Until recently, I led a normal life, you know? I worked, went out with friends, had plans for the future. Nothing extraordinary. But suddenly, everything changed. A silent, treacherous disease began to consume me from within, stealing my joy, my energy, and almost my life. I decided to share my story because I know I'm not alone. I know many people suffer in silence, trapped in their own fears and insecurities. And I want them to know that there is hope, that it is possible to recover, that it is worth fighting for life. I made many mistakes, took a long time to realize what was happening to me, ignored the signs my body was giving me, and I deeply regret that. If I had sought help earlier, maybe things wouldn't have reached such a critical point. Therefore, my goal is to alert and inform. I want you to learn from my mistakes, to pay attention to your body, to not be afraid to ask for help. Anorexia stole a lot from me, but it won't take away my voice. I want to use my experience to raise awareness and prevent, to show that mental health is as important as physical health, and that, together, we can fight against this evil that afflicts so many lives. At first, it was all so subtle, so easy to ignore. A little headache here, a dizziness there. Nothing that a pharmacy painkiller couldn't solve, I thought. Ibuprofen was my best friend. If the pain tightened, a pill and done. Life goes on. I justified everything with work stress. This important presentation made me tense, I said to myself. Or, this sleepless night due to the tight deadline is taking its toll on me. And so I went on, pushing it aside, not paying proper attention to the signs that my body desperately sent me. Insomnia, which used to be sporadic, became a constant. Sleepless nights, tossing and turning in bed, my mind racing, prevented me from actually resting. I started to drink calming teas before bed, the kind that promise instant relaxation. It worked for a while, but soon the effect wore off, and I found myself awake again, staring at the ceiling. Then I resorted to a sleeping pill my mother used sometimes. Just to get by, I thought, but inevitably the frequency increased, 1, 2, 3 times a week, and yet I woke up exhausted as if I hadn't slept at all. Lack of appetite also started to bother me. Food no longer appealed to me as it used to. My stomach felt queasy just at the thought of eating. I forced myself to eat some fruits, a yogurt here and there, but nothing consistent. I attributed the lack of appetite to the heat, nervousness, to anything that allowed me to ignore the truth. In summer, we eat less anyway, I said, but summer passed and the lack of appetite persisted. The routine was relentless. Work, home, bills to pay, social commitments. There was no time left to take care of myself. Gym, relaxation, medical checkups, everything was postponed. When I have some free time, I promised myself. But time never came. Life passed by at high speed, and I got lost along the way, neglecting my health, believing I was invincible. What I didn't know was that behind every little pain, every ignored symptom, a serious illness was silently creeping in, corroding my strength and leading me into an increasingly deep abyss. Self-medication, palliative care, lack of time, all contributed to anorexia taking over my life, turning me into a shadow of who I was. And when I finally realized what was happening, it was almost too late. The pains, once fleeting, became constant companions. The headache throbbed mercilessly, clouding my thoughts and preventing me from concentrating on work. The migraine was so intense that it made me nauseous, sensitive to light and sound. I had to lock myself in the dark room, waiting for the crisis to pass. And even then, the pain persisted for hours, leaving me exhausted and irritable. Muscle pains tormented me day and night. Every movement was a torture. Getting out of bed, walking to the kitchen, typing on the computer, everything became a difficult and painful task. My muscles were tight, contracted, as if being crushed by an invisible weight. Massages and stretches provided temporary relief, but the pain always returned, relentless. At work, performance plummeted drastically. I couldn't focus on tasks, made silly mistakes, felt tired and drained of energy. Meetings became a torment. The headache prevented me from following discussions. Fatigue prevented me from actively participating. I started to skip work frequently, making flimsy excuses to justify my absences. Relationships were also affected. I no longer had the energy to go out with friends, talk to family, or date. I preferred to isolate myself at home in my little world of pain and suffering. I avoided social gatherings, canceled appointments, distanced myself from the people I loved. I felt guilty for pushing them away, but I couldn't help it. The pain was stronger than everything. Leisure activities, which used to bring me pleasure and relaxation, became impossible. I could no longer play sports, go to the movies, read a book, watch a movie. The pain and fatigue prevented me from enjoying any activity. I felt trapped in a body that did not obey me, in a life that did not belong to me. Walking became a challenge. Legs shook, knees hurt, breathing became short of breath. Climbing a flight of stairs was a marathon. I needed to stop at each step to catch my breath. I started avoiding places that required physical effort, such as malls, parks, museums. I felt old, weak, incapable. Sleeping was torture. Pain prevented me from finding a comfortable position. I tossed and turned in bed, trying to relax, but it was useless. Insomnia consumed me night after night, leaving me exhausted and irritable. I started taking sleeping pills, but they only provided me with a shallow, restless sleep. Even the simplest tasks, like taking a shower, getting dressed, combing my hair, became a sacrifice. Pain and weakness prevented me from performing these tasks easily. I had to ask my mother for help, which left me deeply ashamed and humiliated. Frustration and despair invaded me every day. I felt powerless in the face of the illness, unable to control my own body. I cried out of anger, sadness, fear. I wondered why this was happening to me, what I had done to deserve so much suffering. I tried to hide the situation from the people around me, afraid of worrying them or being judged. I made up excuses to justify my limitations, disguised the pain with fake smiles, tried to appear normal, but inside I was falling apart. I knew I couldn't continue living that way, that I needed to find a solution to my problem. The day I finally mustered up the courage to seek medical help was a turning point. That fainting episode on the floor of my room, the inability to get up, was the trigger. I knew I couldn't deceive myself any longer, that I needed to face the truth. I scheduled an appointment with a general practitioner, terrified of what he might say. The appointment was tense. I explained all my symptoms, from constant coldness to lack of appetite, through headaches and extreme fatigue. He listened carefully, asked some questions, and examined me. He seemed concerned, which only heightened my anxiety. At the end of the consultation, he requested a battery of tests: blood, urine, feces, as well as imaging tests like ultrasound and X-ray. The list was extensive and frightening. The wait for the results was agonizing. Every minute felt like an eternity. I felt lost, confused, and terrified. I looked up my symptoms on the internet, which only made the situation worse. I read about serious, rare, and incurable diseases and convinced myself that I had one of them. I slept poorly, with constant nightmares. Food wouldn't go down, my stomach churning with anxiety. Finally, the day to get the results arrived. I went to the doctor's office accompanied by my mother, who tried to calm me down, but was visibly nervous too. The doctor carefully analyzed the tests in silence. With each passing second, my apprehension grew. When he finally looked up, his face was serious. "Brittany," he began, "your tests indicate a case of anorexia nervosa." The words echoed in my mind like thunder. Anorexia? Me? It couldn't be true. I always thought of myself as normal, never excessively concerned about my weight. How could this be happening to me? The shock was immediate. I felt as if the ground had disappeared from beneath my feet. Tears started rolling down my face uncontrollably. My mother hugged me tightly, trying to console me, but I was in a state of complete denial. "No, it can't be," I repeated. "This isn't happening to me." Fear overtook me, fear of treatment, fear of not being able to recover, fear of losing control of my life. The future seemed dark and uncertain. I felt alone, misunderstood, and desperate. The avalanche of questions that flooded my mind was overwhelming. Why me? What did I do to deserve this? How will I get through this? Can I heal? What will people think of me? The need for support was urgent. I needed to talk to someone who understood what I was going through, who could guide me and give me hope. I needed answers, information, a plan to face this battle. That day marked the beginning of a new journey, a painful and challenging journey, but also a journey of self-discovery and transformation, a journey in search of my health, my happiness, and my life. The start of the treatment was like entering a dark labyrinth with no map and no flashlight. The first session with the psychologist was difficult. Opening up my heart, confessing my fears and insecurities to a stranger left me exhausted. The sessions were intense, painful, but necessary. I needed to understand the root of the problem, discover what led me to this obsession with control and thinness. The nutritionist was also essential. She helped me create a balanced meal plan, relearn how to eat healthily and enjoyably. At first, every meal was a battle. I felt guilt, anxiety, and fear of gaining weight. But with time and her support, I started freeing myself from those constraints and rediscovering the pleasure of eating. Soon, medication became part of the routine. Antidepressants, anxiolytics, vitamins, a pharmacy inside me. The side effects were terrible. Nausea, dizziness, dry mouth, insomnia, weight gain. I felt like a zombie with no energy and no desire to do anything. But I knew I had to persevere, that the meds were crucial to controlling the anxiety and depression, constant companions anorexia. Hospitalizations were inevitable. In moments of crisis, when my weight was dangerously low and my health at risk, I had to be hospitalized. The experience was traumatic. I felt trapped, isolated, and powerless. Feeding tube, injections, constant exams, everything reminded me of my fragility and the seriousness of my illness. One of the most painful consequences of anorexia was osteoporosis. My bones became fragile and brittle, making me susceptible to fractures. In a silly fall, I broke my femur and needed surgery. The recovery was slow and painful. I spent months in bed, dependent on help for everything. I felt useless and frustrated. The disease robbed me of beauty. My hair fell out. My skin became pale and dry. My teeth weakened. I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize myself. I felt ashamed of my body, found myself ugly and repulsive. Anorexia turned me into a caricature of myself. The fatigue was extreme. Even after sleeping for hours, I woke up exhausted, without energy to face the day. The simplest tasks became a heavy burden. Climbing a flight of stairs was a marathon. Anorexia stole my vitality and joy of living. The limitations imposed by the disease were frustrating. I couldn't travel, play sports, go out with friends. My life was reduced to medical appointments, therapy sessions, and hospitalizations. I felt trapped in a cage, unable to fly. At many moments, I thought about giving up. The pain was unbearable, the suffering constant, hope almost non-existent. I felt lost, alone, and desperate. But in those moments of darkness, I held on to my family, my friends, and my medical team. They were my safe haven, my strength, and my inspiration. The support of my family was crucial. My parents, my siblings, my grandparents, they all surrounded me with love, affection, and understanding. They didn't judge me, didn't blame me. They just welcomed me and encouraged me to keep fighting. My friends were amazing. They visited me in the hospital, called to check on me, invited me to go out, even knowing I couldn't go. They showed me that I wasn't alone, that I could count on them for whatever I needed. The medical team was essential. The doctors, the nurses, the psychologists, the nutritionists, they all treated me with respect, professionalism, and humanity. They gave me the tools and the knowledge necessary to face anorexia and move forward. Faith also helped me a lot. Believing in something greater than myself, having hope for a better future, gave me strength to overcome the toughest moments. Prayer, meditation, and connection with nature brought me peace and serenity. The journey to recovery from anorexia is long and arduous, but it is possible. With appropriate treatment, emotional support, and a lot of willpower, it is possible to break free from the chains of the illness and return to a full and happy life. I am living proof of that. There is a great deal of confusion about what terminal condition and palliative care mean, and it is important to clarify this difference to avoid misunderstandings and unnecessary fears. Being in a terminal condition means that the person has an incurable and progressive disease, and that their life expectancy is very short, usually weeks or months. In this case, the main focus of treatment is on ensuring maximum comfort and dignity possible in the final moments of life. Palliative care, on the other hand, is much broader. They are a type of assistance aimed at improving the quality of life of patients and their families facing problems associated with serious illnesses, whether curable or incurable, at any stage of life, from diagnosis to bereavement. The primary goal is to relieve pain and other distressing symptoms, such as shortness of breath, nausea, fatigue, and insomnia. But palliative care goes far beyond physical relief. They also offer emotional, social, and spiritual support, both for the patient and their families. Many people associate palliative care with the end of the line, with giving up on a cure, but this is not true. Palliative care can be initiated at any time during the illness, even when the patient is still receiving treatment to try to cure it. The important thing is that the focus is always on the patient's well-being and relief of suffering. Palliative care encompasses a wide range of services, including pain management, nutritional support, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, psychological counseling, social work, and spiritual support. The multidisciplinary team providing these cares consists of doctors, nurses, psychologists, social workers, physiotherapists, occupational therapists, and chaplains. They all work together to provide comprehensive and personalized care that meets the specific needs of each patient and their family. In my own journey, palliative care was essential in dealing with anorexia symptoms and the stress of treatment. In addition to traditional therapy and medication, I experienced alternative therapies that helped me greatly. Meditation taught me how to calm my mind and deal with anxiety. Yoga helped me relax my body, relieve muscle pain, and improve my self-esteem. Acupuncture provided relief for nausea and insomnia. These complementary therapies did not replace conventional treatment, but were an important addition to improving my quality of life. It is crucial to demystify the idea that palliative care is synonymous with imminent death. They are, in fact, a comforting embrace that offers comfort, dignity, and hope to patients and their families in difficult times. They are about living the best possible way, regardless of the diagnosis or prognosis. They are about finding joy in small moments, about strengthening bonds with the people we love, and about making the most of each day. Palliative care is not the end of the line. It is a new beginning, an opportunity to live with more meaning and purpose. After years of arduous struggle and apparent victory over anorexia, life played a trick on me. A cruel trick, I confess. The news of the disease's recurrence hit me like a bolt out of the blue on a sunny day. Feeling the old symptoms return, the obsession with weight, the food restrictions, the fear of gaining weight, it was as if all the progress I had made had crumbled like a sandcastle by the sea. The frustration was immense. The feeling of having to start over from scratch, of facing again that battle I thought I had won, was desperate. Negative thoughts invaded my mind. Will I ever get rid of this? Will anorexia haunt me forever? Am I too weak to defeat this disease? Guilt corroded me from within. I felt I had failed, that I had disappointed myself and the people who loved me. The new symptoms were even more intense and debilitating than the first time. Besides anorexia, I started to feel strong pains in the abdomen, extreme fatigue, and shortness of breath. The weight loss was alarming, and weakness prevented me from performing the simplest tasks of daily life. I knew something was very wrong, but I tried to deceive myself, downplaying the symptoms, afraid of what it could be. The medical consultation was inevitable. The tests, the tomography, the MRI. The wait for the results was torturous. And then the news I feared the most, metastasis. Anorexia had caused irreparable damage to my body, and cancer had spread to other organs. The ground opened beneath my feet. The fear of death paralyzed me. The idea of leaving my family, my friends, of not achieving my dreams was unbearable. I cried for days on end, feeling lost and desperate. Anger also consumed me. Anger towards the illness, anger towards my body, anger towards life. Gradually, I started accepting the new reality. It wasn't easy, but I knew I needed to find strength to move forward. I decided I wouldn't succumb to despair, that I would fight with all my might to live to the fullest and in the best possible way. Psychological support has been crucial in this journey. Therapy helps me cope with fear, anxiety, and sadness. The psychologist teaches me to value the present, to focus on what I can control, and to accept what I cannot change. Faith has also given me strength. Believing in God, praying, meditating, bring me peace and serenity. I feel I am not alone, that I have a greater purpose in this life. I focus on living in the present, on cherishing each day as if it were the last. I value simple moments, like a hug, a smile, a sunset. I strengthen my bonds with the people I love, express my feelings, forgive, and ask for forgiveness. I take care of my body with affection. I eat healthily, do light exercises, rest enough. I seek activities that give me pleasure, such as reading, listening to music, painting. I have learned to be grateful for everything I have, instead of regretting what I have lost. I am grateful for my family, my friends, my health, even though it is weakened, for the opportunity to be alive. I still fear death, but I don't let it paralyze me. I know that life is finite and that one day we will all leave. But I want to live intensely every moment that is left to me, leave a legacy of love, hope, and faith. My story does not end here. I still have much to live, much to learn, and much to share. And I hope that my experience can inspire other people to fight for their lives, to never lose hope, and to believe in the power of love. I have discovered that life resides in the details, in the little things that used to go unnoticed. Learning to live in the present has become my greatest mission. I no longer cling to the future, which has become uncertain, nor do I hold on to the past, which I can no longer change. The now is all I have, and it is where the beauty of existence lies. One of my favorite activities is to watch the sunrise and sunset. The vibrant colors painting the sky fill me with joy and remind me of the grandeur of nature. I sit on the balcony, take a deep breath, and thank for another day of life. The singing of the birds, the smell of damp earth, the gentle touch of the breeze on my face, all of this connects me with the world and makes me feel alive. I love reading books. Diving into stories, exploring new worlds, traveling without moving, transports me to another dimension. Reading calms me, inspires me, and teaches me. I have found that books are my best friends, always there to comfort me, make me happy, and make me dream. Cooking has become a therapy. Preparing a tasty meal for myself and the people I love is an act of care and love. Experimenting with new ingredients, trying different recipes, feeling the aromas mixing in the kitchen gives me immense pleasure. Eating with family, sharing food and stories strengthens bonds and creates unforgettable moments. The contact with animals brings me a lot of joy. The pure energy and unconditional love of the little ones enchant me. Playing with my dog, petting my cat, watching the fish swim in the aquarium relaxes me and makes me forget about problems. Animals are true angels in our lives, always ready to give us love and companionship. Valuing relationships has become a priority. Anorexia isolated me from the world, distanced me from the people I loved. Now I make a point to be present in the lives of my family, my friends, to show my affection and support. The conversations, the hugs, the smiles are precious gifts that I cherish dearly. Learning to express my feelings was a great challenge. I have always been a reserved person with difficulty in showing my emotions. Therapy helped me to open up, to talk about my fears, my anxieties, my joys. I discovered that expressing my feelings frees me, relieves me, and connects me with people. Being grateful for life has become a habit. Every day, before going to sleep, I reflect on the good things that have happened to me and thank for each one of them. I am grateful for my health, even with limitations, for my family, for my friends, for my home, for the shining sun, for the falling rain, for the food on my table. Gratitude transforms our perspective, makes us see the beauty in simple things, and helps us overcome difficult moments. Illness has taught me to prioritize what really matters: love, family, friendship, health, faith. I learned to set aside unnecessary worries, not to care about others' opinions, not to be so hard on myself. The important thing is to be happy, to live in peace with myself, and to do good to others. Anorexia stole many things from me, but it also taught me valuable lessons. I learned to be stronger, more resilient, more compassionate. I learned to value life, to love myself, and to be grateful for every moment. And today, despite the illness, I feel happier and more fulfilled than ever. Life and death, two sides of the same coin. Before the illness, I saw life as a sequence of goals to be achieved, dreams to be fulfilled. I chased after success, perfection, and others' approval. Death was something distant, abstract, something that only happened to others. But anorexia confronted me with my own mortality. It showed me that life is fragile, ephemeral, and that we cannot waste a single second. Today, I see life with different eyes. I have learned to value simple moments, small joys, emotional bonds. I have discovered that happiness is not in material accomplishments, but in the experiences we live, the people we love, and the good we do for others. Death is no longer a taboo for me. I face it with serenity as part of the natural cycle of life. I am not afraid to die, but I am afraid of not living intensely. I want to make the most of every moment, leave a legacy of love, hope, and faith. The experience of illness has transformed me profoundly. Anorexia stole much from me, but also gave me valuable gifts. I have become stronger, more resilient, more compassionate. I have learned to love myself, to accept my imperfections, and to value my qualities. Anorexia has taught me to be grateful for all that I have, instead of lamenting what I have lost. It has taught me to live in the present, not to worry about the future, and not to dwell on the past. It has taught me to prioritize what truly matters: love, family, friendship, health, faith. The legacy I want to leave is that of a person who fought with all their might to live fully. Despite the difficulties, I want to be remembered as someone who loved unconditionally, who inspired others to take care of their health and to believe in the power of love. It is essential to raise awareness about the importance of mental health. Anorexia is a serious illness that can lead to death. We need to break the taboo, speak openly about the subject, seek professional help. Do not be afraid to ask for help. You are not alone. Take care of your health, both physically and mentally. Eat healthily, exercise, get enough sleep, avoid stress, cultivate healthy relationships, engage in activities that bring you joy. Do not ignore the signals from your body. See a doctor regularly. Live fully. Enjoy every moment. Cherish the simple moments. Love unconditionally. Forgive. Be grateful. Do good. Life is a precious gift. Do not waste it. For those facing similar challenges, I want to leave a message of hope and encouragement. Do not give up. Believe in yourselves. Trust your inner strength. Seek support. Do not isolate yourselves. The journey may be long and difficult, but it is possible to recover. Remember that you are not alone, and there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. Anorexia taught me that life is a miracle and that each day is a new opportunity to be happy. I learned to value every moment, to love unconditionally, and to be grateful for everything I have. And today, despite the illness, I feel stronger, more resilient, and more compassionate than ever. And I want to share this message with all of you. Never lose hope. Believe in the power of love and live fully. I learned the hard way the importance of listening to my own body. It speaks, it warns, it screams. But often we are so busy with the hustle and bustle of daily life that we ignore its signals. Do not make this mistake. Pay attention to aches, to fatigue, to mood swings. Do not self-medicate. Do not compare yourselves to others. Do not be ashamed to seek medical help. Prevention is key, and an early diagnosis can make all the difference. The sooner the disease is identified, the greater the chances of effective treatment and complete recovery. If I could give one piece of advice based on all my experience, it would be face the illness with courage, faith, and hope. Do not succumb to despair. Do not isolate yourselves. Do not give up the fight. Seek support from family, friends, healthcare professionals. Believe in yourselves, trust in your inner strength, and remember that you are not alone in this battle. Faith can be a strong foundation in these moments, a source of peace and serenity to face the challenges. Keep hope alive, envision a better future, and never forget that life is a precious gift. My heart overflows with love and gratitude. I am grateful for every person who crossed my path, for every lesson I learned, for every obstacle I overcame. I am grateful for my family, who loved me and supported me unconditionally. I am grateful for my friends, who gave me strength and hope. I am grateful for healthcare professionals who cared for me with such kindness and professionalism. And I am grateful for life, which gave me the opportunity to live, to love, and to learn. I believe in the power of life, in the human capacity for resilience, and in the importance of savoring every moment. May my story serve as inspiration for more people to take care of their health, to love themselves, and to live fully. Always remember, life is a miracle, and each day is a new opportunity to be happy.